Hi guys, welcome back to Jay's Kitchen. So today I'm going to be sharing with you a recipe on how to make an apple pie. It's a very delicious recipe and I know a lot of you are intimidated at the thought of making an apple pie. Trust me, I was too. But after making it for 2 times, it turned out superb and very delicious, and trust me, when you have all the ingredients on hand, it's a very easy process. So this is my third attempt on doing it, so I'm going to be showing you how to make it. Let's see what are the ingredients that we need to make the pie crust. So what we need for the pie crust is basically we need sugar, salt, unsalted butter, ice water, all-purpose flour, and also the measuring cups to measure the ingredients. So we will need to be making the pie crust first before we do the filling, because the pie crust needs to be left in the refrigerator to chill for about an hour. So let's start making the pie crust. Let me prepare the ingredients and we'll start making the pie crust. So I've prepared all the ingredients. So here we have butter that has been diced in cubes, roughly about 2 pounds, which is also equivalent to about 226 grams, or if you're using stick measurements, it'll be 2 sticks of butter. And then we have about half a teaspoon of salt, half a tablespoon of sugar. We have about 6 to 7 tablespoons of ice water. So I have 10 here because if it's still the pie crust is still not sticking together, you will need to pour more, one at a time. So I have extra just in case. And 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and also a little bit extra here for me to dust on my work table. So let's get into making the pie crust. So I'm going to be using a kitchen mixer, stand mixer, to actually make the pie crust. And you don't need to actually mix it a lot. It's or we don't need to knead it a lot. It's just a very simple procedure. So we're just going to mix all the ingredients together. So firstly, I'm going to mix all the dry ingredients together. So I'm going to put in my all-purpose flour. We're going to add that in, and then we're going to add in the sugar and also the salt. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it a spin in the stand mixer to just get it all mixed together. So I'm going to mix it in my stand mixer right now, just a few spins on low mode, just to get it all mixed together. As you can see, it's mixing, and we're just going to make sure the sugar, salt, and the flour is all mixed together. So now, after a few turns on the mixer, we're going to add in the unsalted butter into it, and we're going to let it mix together till it becomes a bit pea-sized clumps. So I'm going to add in one by one while it's mixing. So I'm going to be adding it one by one while it's mixing. Slowly. So it has to become clumpy. More like pea-sized clumps. So we're going to continue mixing this until the mixture becomes clumpy, and we're going to add in all the unsalted butter that was cubed into it. As you can see, the mixture has become clumpy, more of a pea-sized clump, as you can see here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in the ice water, 1 tablespoon at a time, to get all the flour together to stick. So as it's mixing, I'm going to be adding 6 to 7 tablespoons, or maybe more, one at a time, until it sticks together. So you got to press the dough, and if it sticks together, then it's done. That's 3 tablespoons. It's 4. It's 5. It's about 6. And maybe we might need to add another one more. 7. So we're seeing if the clumps are sticking together when you press it together. Yes, it's sticking together, so we are actually done. And now we are going to transfer all this into a clean work surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of flour on my work table. Okay, and I'm going to take all this, I'm going to dump it on my work table. And we're going to make it stick together. We're not going to knead it. We don't want it to be smooth, but we just want it to stick together. And then we're going to refrigerate it. So let's make it stick together. So as you see, I've clumped it together in one whole crust, and now we're going to cut it into half and divide it into 2. Because we need 2 pie crust. One will be for the top and one will be for the bottom. So we're going to make it into round, just like how I did. We're going to make it into a disc, round disc. So as you can see, we have 2 discs here, one for the top and one for the bottom. And right now I'm going to wrap it in cling wrap. And then we're going to put it in the refrigerator for it to cool down. So I'm going to put it like this. I'm going to put it one on top of the other. So as you see, I already have wrapped both the pie crust in cling wraps, and this is going to go into the refrigerator to be chilled for about an hour. So now what we're going to do is we're going to see what we need to make the apple pie filling. So let's go. So I have all the ingredients to make the filling. We need about 6 to 7 pieces of apples. You can use any type of apples that you want. And then we need all-purpose flour, sugar, about 1/4 of water, a little bit, and then also unsalted butter, cinnamon, and also 1 egg. Towards the end, we need to egg wash the pie once it's done, and also the measuring cups from the ingredients. So let me prepare the apples and also the other ingredients, and we can start making the filling. So I've actually prepared the ingredients already. So this is the 7 apples that I've actually cored, peeled, and sliced it. This is the 1 cup of sugar. You can add in according to your preference. So I have 1 cup of sugar here, and 1/4 of water, and I have 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 egg for the egg wash towards the end. I've added 1 tablespoon of water and to dilute it a bit, and I have 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and also I have 1 stick of butter, which is also about 113 gram of butter. If you're using stick, you can use 1 stick of butter. So this is 113 grams of butter. So right now let's make the filling, and we can proceed with it. So I've put the apples in a bigger bowl, so it's easy for me to actually combine and mix it. So we're going to start off with the apples, and these apples I'm going to add in the cinnamon, and I'm going to put it in. Make sure we got all the cinnamon, and then I'm going to mix it and get all the apples to combine with the cinnamon. Just want to make sure that all the apples get the cinnamon flavor in them. So it's easier for me to do it in a very high bowl. So as all the apples mix, I know some of the apples might just break since we've already sliced them, but it's fine, should be no problem. So now as you can see, everything has been mixed together and all the apples have been coated with the cinnamon. So now we're going to be making the sauce to pour it into the apple mixture. So I've heated the pan here, and I'm going to add in the butter. I'm going to wait until the butter melts. So try to leave the heat under low heat, because we need this to shimmer for a couple of minutes, so we don't want the sauce to actually get burned. So we're going to be melting this butter till it fully melts. And now my butter has melted. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding in the flour, 3 tablespoons of flour, and we're going to mix it, stirring it continuously. Just keep mixing it, and I have it on low heat. I'm going to be mixing it until it's well incorporated. Then I'm going to add in the 1/4 of water. I'm going to keep mixing it. And finally we're going to be adding the sugar. Okay, just keep on mixing. Until the sugar melts. And we're going to keep on mixing this until it starts bubbling a little bit. So let's just keep mixing it. As you can see, it's already starting to come to a light boil. So I'm actually lowering it, and I'm going to shimmer it for another 3 minutes. So I'm just going to keep mixing it for another 3 minutes, and then we can remove it from the fire. So my sauce has been shimmering for almost 3 minutes, so we can remove the pan from the heat, and we can pour this mixture into the apple mixture. So switching it off, and then we can take this and pour it into the apple mixture. So I'm going to be pouring the mixture evenly into the apple mixture, just to make sure that all the apples are coated with the sauce. to make sure we're getting all the sauce. We don't want to leave anything in our pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I mix everything so all my apples get the sauce mixture and the sauce well coats everything. Just make sure you get everything into it. It's okay if the apple breaks in the process of actually mixing the apples. Okay, so as you can see, everything is well coated with the sauce. So now our next step would be to take out the pie crust, and we're going to roll it out and put it in the pan. So before I take out the pie crust from the refrigerator, I'm actually going to preheat my oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. And as you can see here, I've actually left a pan right under where I'm going to be putting my pie pan, so that when the apple mixture bubbles, it will not pour into my oven. So it's for safety keeping. So here, as you can see, I have my 9-inch pie pan where I'm going to take out the bigger crust first, and I'm going to roll it out into a 12-inch diameter and circle, and I'm going to put it first in the pie pan. So we're going to bring out the pie crust. So this is the pie crust that's been chilling in the refrigerator for about almost an hour. So I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to flour my work table here, and I'm going to slowly roll it out into our 12-inch diameter. It just came out from the refrigerator, so it's going to take a little bit of time rolling it out. You have to do it very slowly. So I have roughly about 12-inch of diameter, so I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. So it wouldn't be so perfect. It's as long as you have, and if it breaks at the side, you can just patch it up like this, because anyway when it starts baking, it'll cook everything inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly transfer it onto the pie pan, slowly, by carrying it and putting it inside. And then we're going to make sure that we adjust a little bit just to make sure everything is inside. So as you can see, I've done the bottom layer. Do not worry if there is some holes or the pastry actually tears up. Just take a little bit of this extra hanging pastry and just stick it over. As like I said, when it cooks, it will combine everything and stick everything together. So we're going to leave it like this, and we're going to pour in the apple filling. So don't worry about the hanging sides. You can always adjust it later on once you've done the top layer. So we're going to bring in the apple filling, and we're going to adjust it. So I'm going to drop in my apple mixture slowly together with the sauce. As you can see, the sauce is dripping, and that's the main ingredient for this apple pie. We're actually going to drop it and make sure that every part of the pie has the apple. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure that we're going to do a mold, sort of like a mold, so that it'll be easy for us later to clip the sides. So here I'm adjusting and making it into a mold. but just make sure at the bottom you have every side of the pie that has apples in it. Okay, and you don't want the apples to be falling at the sides. That's when the mixture starts bubbling in the oven and the liquid will start pouring out of the pan. So okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to make the top crust, and then later we're going to adjust the sides of the bottom pie crust. So let's get the top crust. So I have the top crust here and I'm going to remove it, and we're going to do the same thing as what we did to the bottom crust. And as you see here, I'm going to flour my work table again a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to put a little bit of flour here. And we're going to go with the same slow and steady to make this flatten. So right now I kind of managed to make it around the pie crust. So I'm going to be making a lettuce pie top. So I have my pizza cutter here. So I'm going to try to cut it. And the lettuce design is going to be a little bit thicker. I usually do it thinner, but this time I want the pieces to be a little bit thicker. So I'm cutting it. So the design is not going to be really perfect. So like I said, this is my third attempt to actually make a apple pie, and also my third attempt on making a lattice pie design. So I'm going to try to arrange it onto my pie. So we're going to see. So I'm taking the longest one to put it in the middle. Then the second longest one goes here. I'm going to adjust the design because this looks a little bit thicker. And it's going to go like this and so forth. So as you can see, I've actually used a pizza cutter to actually cut the sides, the excess that was hanging out. So what I'm going to do is I've got this whole excess of pastry right out here, and I'm going to try to make use of this to decorate the top of the pie. So as you can see, I've already completed the lettuce apple pie. So what I did with the leftover pastry was that I actually reused it again, used a cookie cutter, and I've actually cut some designs to cover everything. So basically, if you have any flaws on your lettuce pie, you can always cover it with designs, as what I have done. So I have covered this. So what we're going to do right now, the last step to doing the apple pie, is to wash it up with egg. So I'm going to be just putting a little bit of egg so that when you take it out, you'll get a golden glow to the pie. So we're going to be doing to the whole pie. So my apple pie is all ready. It's been egg washed. So now I'm going to put it inside the oven. We're going to put it inside the oven. So as you can see, my apple pie is right now in the oven. So it's baking at 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to bake it for 15 minutes, and then we're going to lower the heat to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for another 45 minutes, or until the apples are soft and the sauce is actually bubbling. So my apples have been cooking for about 15 minutes in the oven. So now I'm going to lower the temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's going to continue baking for another 45 minutes or till the sauce from the apples start bubbling and the apples are soft. So we're going to bake for another 45 minutes. So as you can see, the apple pie has been baking in the oven for 45 minutes and it's already out of the oven. So I'm going to let it cool down. It'll be best eaten if you leave the apple pie overnight, so to let all the juices incorporate with the apple, so it'll be more tastier the next day. So this is the apple pie, delicious apple pie. Thank you so much for watching me make my apple pie today. If you like the recipe today and if you like the video on how I made the apple pie, don't forget to give me a like, a thumbs up. Please share the video and also please subscribe to this video and by clicking the subscribe button that's under this video, and please subscribe to the Rainbows and Butterflies Forever YouTube channel, so you'll be able to get more of my videos to your email. So don't forget, please like, share and subscribe. Till I see you in my next recipes video. Till see then.